I sit in the iPad.
Alright, my name is Ashley Kellum, and the paper that I chose was How BT Corn and Roundup Ready Soy Work and Why They Should Not Scare Us. And basically this article discussed the two major classes of GM crops and expressed that consumers have already been consuming crops with such pesticides, herbicides, or genes for years. For example, many registered pesticides contain the bacterium BT spores, and some of them have even been approved for use in organic agriculture. The paper that I thought was synergistic with mine was Golden Rice Regulatory Issues, which also stated that most people have been eating these genes and their products from a number of other food sources throughout their lives, and that the benefits outweigh potential dangers. It went further to say that the regulation system should be built on accumulated experience rather than repeated testing, which is expensive and much of the public sector and nonprofits can't afford.
My name is Ian Rasmussen. The title of my chosen paper was How Do You Make a Transgenic Plant from Colorado State University. And the most important concept or idea from this was the agrobacterium method about transformation, in that it's been successfully practiced in broadleaf plants like soybeans and tomatoes for many years, but has only recently been effective in grasses and their relatives. In general, the agrobacterium method is considered preferable to the gene gun method because of the greater frequency of single-site insertions of the foreign DNA, making it easier to monitor. And so another paper that I thought this was synergistic with was the Transgenics, a new breed paper from Nature, the Journal of Science. And that's because of how transgenics in breeding is complicated to implement with new plant types and the focus of the public's opinion.
Hi, my name is Rachel Wood. One of the articles I read was also How Do You Make a Transgenic Plant by Colorado State University, and it examines the technology and processes needed to make these transgenic plants, which is often lengthy and it's an advanced process and it can be quite expensive. And the article that I found to be synergistic with this article was called Golden Rice Regulation Issues, which was from the Golden Rice Humanitarian Board. And it discusses how regulation further increases these expenses and the time needed to create these transgenic crops, including golden rice, and the cost of this regulation is often too high for humanitarian projects to afford, making it difficult to ever put golden rice into production.
Hi, my name is Sarah. My first article was called Genetic Modification Trails Conventional Breeding by Far, posted on the Institute of Science and Society. And they're saying that as far as feeding the world goes, GM technologies are not as effective as conventional breeding. Almost all GM crops exhibit only two traits: resistance to glyphosate-based herbicides and insect resistance due to production of a bacterial toxin. The article states, meanwhile, organizations like the Drought Tolerant Maize for Africa project have developed 153 new varieties of maize, and in field trials they have yielded up to 30% more during drought, and it is estimated it will help reduce the number of people living in poverty by 9%. They say that the reason GM isn't as effective is because characteristics like drought or salinity tolerance are controlled by complex systems, not just single segments of genes. Segue into the next article. It's called Transgenics, a New Breed, and in fact, GM companies are starting to use gene editing, which is now utilizing only the plant's native DNA, if you will, and not inserting new ones. And it's possibly more efficient, and it could be faster and possibly not regulated as have been.
I'm Eric Branch. The article I chose was Transgenics, a New Breed from Nature. The most important idea here is that GM crops no longer benefit just the farmer through insect resistance and herbicide resistance. Instead, these crops benefit the consumer and processor. Non-rotting apples and nutritious foods like golden rice were the examples. And then this was synergistic with the NPR radio article, Integrating Golden Rice, which expounded upon that golden rice example and how it was more nutritious, benefits the people who eat it as much as it does the people who grow it.